Toyota dealers rejecting trade-ins of their own vehicles that have bad engines, and customers are literally struggling with what to do next. When customers attempt to trade in their slightly used vehicles, they're getting responses like, "Unfortunately, this is not something we're interested in taking a trade-in." Another customer said he went to Carvana and it was bad, at least for Toyota brands. And it's in line with the big three as well, but the fear is they're going to reject it when it's time to come sign the paperwork. And many customers are stepping up saying how difficult it is to trade in their late model Toyota Tundra with that new twin turbo V6 or even the LX600 and GX 550s. And a whole pile of dealers are literally telling these customers as they want to trade them in that no thanks, we're good, we don't need that vehicle. But behind the scenes, they literally know that there's a big ticking time bomb. There are in fact numerous against their will Tundra owners that have been trying to quickly scramble and trade their vehicles in, up, out, or even down just to get free of these vehicles because they've been such a problem. Another customer said he tried to trade his Tundra in for a GMC Sierra AT4X, and once they got down to nitty gritty, said here's my trade-in. That was enough to blow the deal. And in case you haven't heard the news, 102,000 vehicles by Toyota are being recalled for catastrophic engine failure. Now, Toyota actually said this V35A, which is their twin-turbo 3.4-liter V6 that they use in their latest Toyota Tundra, as well as SUVs in the luxury car segment made by Lexus, is having major issues now. And you might experience things like potential engine knocking, engine rough running, engine no start, and or a loss of motivation and power. I lose motivation sometimes just getting out of bed when it's ugly outside, the weather's raining. I don't get very motivated to get out of bed either. So that's what's happening at Toyota, allegedly. So after numerous stories of people blowing engines and having to return, get a new engine put in, or get their vehicle rebuilt, they're having another blown engine, and this cycle goes round and around, this sudden emergent condition erupted and Toyota had to take action. As a matter of fact, they live by the idea of quality control and pride in construction and development engineering, and when all of this catastrophic engine failures were happening, they start to panic and get scared, and so were customers. And Toyota is saying this applies to the V35A, that new V6 with turbocharged engine. They say that there's actually particulate that's flowing around in the oil in certain circumstances, certain size of material that winds up down in the engine that was never cleaned out properly during manufacturing process. And as a result, once that vehicle is put into service and the oiling and all the pressure and the flow of the oil starts agitating and moving these particulates and moving them around within the engine, a lot of them, and under certain situations and certain material size, wind up in and against the main bearings. That's the main bearings that hold your crankshaft in place and allows it to reciprocate and turn appropriately. And those main bearings, once they get a hot spot because of material hanging up in there, they start to catastrophically pile up and go boom! And that is what's literally failing many of these engines. Now, Toyota just recently realized this and alleges that they have a solution, but unfortunately many customers are left, I can't do anything with this. Is it a ticking time bomb? Is this engine gonna go? And while there's many very happy new Toyota Tundra owners or Lexus LX600 owners, the fact remains is it is literally that, a ticking time bomb. Is it going to burn up? Is it going to boom? Is it going to fail? And what do I do if this all happens? Well, Toyota's trying to take some level of ownership in this, and while I do believe Toyota has the capacity to take ownership, move this problem forward, advance it, clear it, fix it, and do everybody in the right respective manner. But unfortunately, for the time being, people are panicking, trying to get rid of these vehicles and these potentially faulty engines. So a lot of you are probably wondering, if it's just a recall, why can't the dealers take it in, get the recall taken care of, and move on and make that transaction happen? Well, the reality is it sits too long. A lot of vehicles waiting for a recall to happen may take months, weeks, or possibly even as up to a year. Or in fact, if they want to move that vehicle, they know they can't sell the vehicle because that's not legal. They can't sell it with open recalls, and as a result, they either have to wholesale it to other dealers that are openly knowing and willing to actually take that vehicle on and pitch it to somebody who actually wants it, and nobody wants them right now until the recall is fixed, and they know that they have a good engine. That's the problem. Nobody wants these vehicles, and therefore they're almost impossible to sell. Another Tundra.com forum member actually said he was trying to trade in his Tundra, a late model Tundra with that new 3.4, in for a slightly older Land Cruiser, and everything was going good. The dealer was very receptive. They were happy to do the deal until they figured out what this customer was actually trying to trade in, and it was a Tundra. And all bets were off. The dealer wanted no part of it, and the customer had to walk away or drive away with their brand new Tundra, head hanging low. I've heard from numerous customers that have reached out to me personally and asked me what I think about this vehicles. And I said I do believe that Toyota has the capacity to actually get this right and fix this and make it a good engine in the end. But the problem is, yes, there's this transitionary period, the break-in period. And we know that I've never suggested buying the first or second year of any new model, never any major overhaul, because you know there's going to be bugs, problems, challenges, obviously new machining, new jigs for a lot of these constructions and manufacturing, and there's going to be issues. And this is no different. Toyota or any other manufacturer is going to face some other significant challenges, and here we have proof of that. And that's another reason why when I talk about buying used cars and the value that you get out of used cars, it's much more than just a piece of paper, or it's much more than something you believe is tangible. It's the understanding and the track record of what you know of reliability, and that's a vehicle or an engine or a manufacturer that has had a vehicle in development for many years and actually has this track record of reliability and durability that just doesn't go away. I mean, that's why the 5.7s are long lasting, and people know that. And they weren't perfect in the beginning. And that's the other thing that you can't forget. They had little bugs in the beginning of those early 5.7s as well. But after a few years, now it's literally known to be one of the slowest turning, most reliable workhorses that Toyota has ever built. And this is more example of why a used vehicle sometimes is better if you have the money and you need that vehicle and you want a Toyota. That's why getting a late model last of the engine or production run of the 5.7 is often a better vehicle, even if it's slightly used, than going for the brand new latest and the greatest, because you are buying into the bugs and you are becoming, in my opinion, the personal guinea pig of a lot of this research and development. And this goes for all dealers, all manufacturers, all vendors. I don't care if it's General Motors and their junky 2.7 liter 4-cylinder wrecked a little beasts, or the EcoSport by the Fords, and their wet timing belts, and those are blowing engines. Lots of bad engine issues everywhere. But you have to understand what the long-term longevity of these are. And how would you ever know if it's a brand new engine? That's why often used vehicles are more telling, and they're exposing what those chronic issues are. So by the time the vehicle's been in service, or that engine's been in service for 5, 6, or 7 years, you pretty much know what to expect. Barring, some poor maintenance or neglect or abuse, for the most part, these vehicles are literally going to last as long as you pretty much anticipate they will. So good service history, you're going to get the vehicle you hope you're going to get. So unfortunately, these new Toyota owners, these Tundra owners with the 3.4s, the Lexus LX 600, and now the up-and-coming GX 550, which, is a newer model, but anticipated, of course, to see similar issues as it carries the same engine. So if for some reason you happen to stumble across the used market and you're finding yourselves an early generation of the brand new 3.4 liter Toyota engine, or Tundra, for example, or even the Lexus LX 600, do your homework. Understand, make sure that recall has been dealt with. If it has not been dealt with, don't walk away. Run away from that, because likely you're going to be stuck with a whole host of problems that you never signed up for, because in fact this is a new issue, and a lot of people are starting to realize that the hard way. They can't trade them in, they can't sell them, nobody wants them, the reputation's starting to catch up, dealers don't want to take them back. Toyota dealers are leaving a lot of people orphaned with these late model Toyota Tundras and Lexus LX 600s. And in light of buying used versus new, check out that vehicles that have lasted over 300,000 miles. Proof is in the pudding. I've got the classifieds and the owners to prove it. So definitely check that out. I hope to see each and every one of you on the next one. See you real soon. Bye-bye.